I saw, but the one I remember was Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
And I got an appendicitis attack while I was at the movie.
No.
And they had to take me in and get my appendix taken out.
Oh no! Did you make it through any of the movie?
Yeah, I got through most of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was eating peanuts, okay?
Oh.
And my sister was with me, Dolores, and I started having pains in my stomach. So she says, well, come on, let's go home. So we managed to get home. We walked, it was what, 3, 4, 5 blocks, something like that. And that's all I remember. Then I woke up, I was in the hospital.
Wow. Do you know if it burst or if they just removed it?
I have no idea.
Well, good thing they got to you, because if it burst, that's never a good thing. Do you remember the first person you voted for?
For what, for president?
For president. Mm-hmm.
It was Harry Truman, I think.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember why you voted for Harry Truman?
Yeah, I thought he was a good man.
Mm-hmm.
I never went by party,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But everybody down there was Democrat at the time,
Oh, yeah.
you know. But
You thought it was good?
yeah, I
It
thought he
worked
was a
out.
good man. I don't even remember who he... Oh, yeah, Dewey. I didn't care for Dewey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was kind of a lame candidate anyway, so...
Well, I mean, you know, he always struck me as a... being better than thou.
Mm-hmm.
His attitude. Where Harry would seem like a guy next door, you know. He was... and he was a feisty guy,
Mm-hmm.
you know. My own personal opinion, the two men in the 20th century that I think are the best presidents we've had was Harry Truman and Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, Reagan was a good president.
So, you know.
Mm-hmm. Works out well. Tell me about your military service. You were drafted, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Yeah. How did you feel when you got drafted? Were you eager to serve, or were you indifferent? Or did you...
You know, I was ambivalent about it. It didn't, you know, one way or the other. I knew I was going to have to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I went, you know, and I was in, I went through basic training into leaders course. From leaders course, they wanted to send me to Fort Benning, Georgia for OCS. But then I'd have to sign up for an additional 2 years, and I didn't want to be in the service that long.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, no, I wasn't going to OCS. So they said, okay, here's your orders. You had 7 days to go from Monterey, Fort Ord, to Oakland, California, which was Camp Stoneman.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 7 days, how am I going to get home in that time?
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Merced, because I knew John Payson.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I went to Castle Air Force Base and got a ride from Castle Air Force Base.
Mm-hmm.
They were supposed to go to Biloxi, Mississippi. I could hitchhike from there, 100 miles maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So we stopped first at David Moffett Field in Arizona. Got a box lunch, then went on in midair, and we're in a C-147, great big cargo plane, and I'm the only thing in the back of that cargo plane. Wrapped up in my overcoat, the Army, and I got my woolen uniform on, and it was cold up there. And they got the sergeant came out, and he was the flight engineer, and said that we're not going to go to up to Biloxi, Mississippi. We're going on to Tampa, Florida. MacDill Air Force Base. Oh no! I said, you got a parachute? Can I jump? He says, no, you can't.
Aww.
So I landed in Tampa, Florida, dressed in a woolen uniform with a great big heavy coat. Took the coat off, put it back in my duffel bag, and I'm sweating like a pig. It's what, 80, 90 degrees
Yeah,
there?
in wool.
And I'm there. I don't know where I'm going from there. And I'm looking around. And he said, where are you headed? I said, I'm trying to go to New Orleans. And this captain says, well, come on, go with us. We're going to Fort Benning, Georgia, Lawton Field. I said, okay. That's closer than here. So I got there, and there was nowhere for me to go then. So I got off the base and caught a cab, and they took me to the train station, and I took a train into New Orleans.
Wow.
Well, 7 days is all I had, and 2 of them are almost gone already.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got home, my dad said, "How much time you got?" I said, "I got all kinds of time." And then he saw my orders. He went out and bought me a plane ticket to Oakland. He says, "You're not going to be AOL." He's not. I'm not going to have that. AWL don't work around here, son.
Yeah.
Go. So I went. Came back a couple of years later.
Where did they ship you off to? You went to Korea?
Yes.
Yeah. Where about, like, what city were you in? Do you remember?
I landed at Incheon. And that was we were not the first wave there. They were already fighting. We went in and we were reserves put into other organizations. And I wound up in the 7th Division. Now, John Payson was at Camp Stoneman also, but he flew over. I was on a ship, and it took 7 days to get there.
Oh, wow.
Going this way, zigzag approach. So when I got there, he was in the 7th, I was in the 7th. He was in the 31st Regiment, I made the 32nd.
Oh, how
So we didn't, we were close to one another once. But that was it. There were three regiments in the division. It was a 17th, 31st, and a 32nd. I spent 2 winters there, 52 and 53. I left Camp Stoneman in 1951. I went through my basic training and advanced training, and then I arrived in Korea, got into an outfit, which was the 7th, went to join the outfit that I was placed in on Heartbreak Ridge. They were coming down when I met the outfit, so I came down with them. And we went to a reserve area to get all of our, it was called Cap Young, to get replacements and get new materials and everything that we need to get the unit back up to its original size. And then we went on from there.
You were infantry, right?
Yes, light weapons.
Light weapons. Which means?
Which means small arms. The largest weapon we had was a 30 caliber machine gun, lightweight. It was air cooled, and we had a BAR and a 60 millimeter mortar, and a 57 recoilless rifle. Now this was all in the 4th squad. That was the weapons squad. The rest of us had M1 rifles and what else from there? A BAR in each squad.
What was your rank?
I was a corporal. I made sergeant a number of times, but I couldn't hold on to them. Couldn't keep my mouth shut.
Oh.
I told people what I thought.
Yeah.
I was not trying to make a career.
So there's no point if you're not trying to make a career. Might as well say what you need to say, huh?
That's it. Yeah.
What do you think you learned being in the military?
Self-sufficiency. Yeah, I can take care of myself.
That's
can cook.
good.
I can clean whatever's necessary around the house. Some first aid and love of country. I won't take any crap. But self-sufficiency. The boy went in and the man came out.
Yeah. And that happened a lot.
Yeah.
From what I hear. Tell me about meeting Grams. When and where did you meet her? And was it love at first sight?
Well, I first met her over an Easter holiday. John Payson and I had hitchhiked from Merced to New Orleans when we got out. He bought a car there, and we drove back. We left on Friday, got back on Sunday. And we went to Mass. He was dating her very good friend, and they lived across the street from one another. Edith Pregno was her name. And your grandmother sang in the choir, and they were up in the choir loft, and you know, she's getting to observe me, and I'm not seeing her at all, you know. So they arrange a get-together and a date and so forth, you know, and then we sort of hit it off. And
So Payson set you guys up?
Yeah.
How fun.
And I've never forgiven him for it.
Aw.
That's what your grandmother said.
Well, she's the one who saw you, huh?
Yes. I didn't see her. She saw me. Matter of fact, I was staying with John at his house. And then I came back home again. And I don't remember what, I had to come back for some reason or another. And when I went back, then I stayed with her Uncle Mike.
Oh, Uncle Mike.
Yeah.
I know Uncle Mike.
I stayed at his house. That was before he and Agnes got married.
Oh, wow.
So.
Wow. Well, I know why Gramps picked you, Nunu, because I've seen your pictures and you were a very handsome guy. You're still a very handsome guy.
Well, about 100 pounds lighter
Well, you're
then than I am now.
right out of the military will do that to you.
And I had hair.
Oh, hair doesn't make a man, Nunu. Tell me how you proposed to Gramps. Do you remember?
Yeah, I think we were at, I had a little picture I showed around with she and I in Applegate Park. And I think I asked her to marry me there at the park, you know. I had to go talk to her father, which I did, and her mother. And her mother says, why don't you come to me first? I'd have gone and talked to, no, it was my obligation. I had to do it, you know. So did, everything was going to, when I got out, Payson got out before I did, a day or so, and he came back to pick me up after, now this is at Monterey, at Fort Ord, and your grandmother came with him. And then we went back to Merced, and that's when I was staying with Mike. So.
Did you already have a ring when you proposed to her, or did you
No.
get it afterward? No.
I got it afterwards.
Was that typical back then, to get the ring after?
I don't know. That's how I did it.
That's just
you
the
know.
way you figured.
My first job, I was working at a jewelry store. So she came to pick it out, you know.
Oh, see, that's helpful. That was very helpful. Did her dad give you any problems when you asked him?
No. He says, best get a trade. You know. I said, well, I'll do what I can, you know. I was thinking of being a barber. Then I went to work from the jewelry store into the banking business, and that was it.
So you first worked at, was the jewelry store your first job that you had out of the military?
Yes.
Did you have any jobs before the military? Like paper route or anything?
No paper route, but I worked at outdoor display. I was a sign painter's helper, and painting the big signs. There were Camel cigarette signs at the time. I mean, great big 40-foot by 10 or 20 feet billboards, okay? And they were painted, and it would blow smoke out of the man's mouth. Camel cigarettes. And we'd work on those up on top of the buildings and that, you know. And that's the job that I had.
How old were you when you had that job?
19.
Oh. So you weren't drafted right when you were 18 into the military?
No.
You were drafted a little later?
I was in the National Guard.
Oh.
And I left New Orleans and went to Atlanta, and I forgot to transfer. So when I came back to New Orleans, I was drafted. I had worked in Texas too, but I didn't transfer my National Guard status.
Oh, no.
I wasn't hiding from them. I just didn't think that I was supposed to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and didn't make any difference to me one way or the other. You know, but and I got my friends and neighbors greeted me. Okay, that was the greeting, signed by Harry Truman.
Thanks for voting for me. You get to serve in the war. What do you remember about your wedding?
Everything.
Where did you get married?
Our Lady of Mercy in Merced. 11 o'clock Mass on a Saturday. My mother was there. John was the best man. Manetti was in the another man, and Tony Torres. I had 3 men, and she had 3 maids of honor. Barbara Bernardi was her cousin, was the matron of honor, and Irene and Dorothy Valenti. Edna wasn't in the wedding because she was already married that September, and I think she was already pregnant then, you know, so she didn't, they got married in September, or no, June I guess it was. They got married in June, we got married in January. Irene got married the following September, and somewhere in between, before we got married, Dorothy and George got married. So I mean, it was just weddings, one right after the other, you know.
Did anything unusual happen during your wedding? Did anything go wrong or anyone faint?
No, everything went well during the wedding. It was after the wedding. We had the reception, everything went fine, and we got out of there at 10-something. I mean, it's in the, you see she's throwing a bouquet out. We're on the stage in the Italo American Lodge. And of course, we had a luncheon reception.
After Mass.
Yeah, and then there was the evening get together, you know, at the food and everything else, the reception, I guess you call it. And we left to go to Fresno. We were on our way going to Vegas. We were going to stop at Fresno first, and there was Tule fog. You've never been through Tule fog. Well, you can't see the end of the hood on the